Ever find yourself staring at your phone, wondering what to text her next? We've all been there. The blank message box, the ticking clock, the fear of saying the wrong thing. You want to keep the conversation going, but you're not sure how. Well, you're not alone. The truth is, texting is an art form, and just like any art form, it takes practice, finesse, and a little bit of insider knowledge. Luckily for you, that's exactly what I'm here to share with you. I'm going to break down the secrets to texting in a way that keeps her hooked, interested, and excited to see your name pop up on her screen. Forget those generic, forgettable messages that get lost in the digital abyss. We're diving deep into the psychology of attraction and crafting texts that create a real connection. Get ready to transform your texting game and keep her wanting more. We're starting with a golden rule of texting. Never put all your cards on the table. Think about it. Have you ever been truly captivated by someone who overshares everything up front? Probably not. The same principle applies to texting. Intrigue happens when you leave a little something to the imagination. Instead of bombarding her with every detail of your day, pique her interest with a text that suggests you have an interesting story to tell. Instead of saying, "I just had the most boring meeting ever," try something like, "You wouldn't believe what happened at work today." See the difference? The first text is flat, while the second one creates anticipation. She's naturally going to be curious about what went down, and that curiosity will make her want to engage with you more. It's about creating a little bit of a chase, a desire to uncover the mystery behind your words. The key here is to be playful and lighthearted. You're not trying to write a suspense novel, you're simply suggesting that you have an interesting life outside of your conversations with her. This approach will not only make you more attractive to her, but it will also prevent your conversations from becoming predictable and dull. Remember, a little mystery goes a long way in keeping her hooked. Now, let's talk about timing, because when it comes to texting, it truly is everything. One of the biggest mistakes guys make is responding instantly to every text, as if their life depended on it. I know it can be tempting to fire back a response the second you see her message, especially when you're really into her. But trust me on this, a little bit of strategic pausing can work wonders. When you respond too quickly, it can communicate that you're waiting by the phone with nothing better to do. It can make you appear overly eager, which can be a turnoff. Instead, allow for some breathing room between texts. This doesn't mean you should leave her hanging for hours on end, but a little bit of space creates anticipation and shows that you have a life outside of your phone. On the other hand, you don't want to wait too long to respond either. If you consistently take hours to reply, it can make you seem disinterested or even rude. The key is finding a balance, a natural flow that keeps the conversation moving without seeming forced. Pay attention to her texting style and try to match her pace. Remember, texting is a dance, not a race. Enjoy the rhythm of the conversation and let the anticipation build naturally. It will make your interactions much more engaging and exciting for both of you. Alright guys, let's talk about injecting some fun and flirty energy into your texts. Flirting is an essential part of any romantic connection, and texting is no exception. It's about creating a playful, teasing dynamic that keeps her on her toes and wanting more. One of the easiest ways to flirt over text is to use humor. Now, I'm not talking about sending cheesy pickup lines or canned jokes. The best kind of humor is natural, spontaneous, and specific to your interactions. Pay attention to her sense of humor. What makes her laugh? What are her interests? Use that information to craft playful texts that are tailored to her personality. For example, if she mentions that she's terrible at bowling, you could jokingly challenge her to a match, saying something like, "I'd challenge you to a bowling duel, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that level of competition." Another effective flirting technique is playful teasing. Did she say something funny or endearing? Don't be afraid to poke a little fun at her. The key here is to keep it lighthearted and avoid anything that could be perceived as mean-spirited. For instance, if she tells you about a funny mishap she had, you could say something like, "That's amazing. You're like a walking, talking sitcom." The goal is to make her smile and create a fun, flirty vibe that sets you apart from the other guys she's texting. Let's be honest, guys. How's your day going? And what are you up to? Are about as exciting as watching paint dry. They're the texting equivalent of white bread, bland, boring, and unlikely to spark a memorable conversation. If you want to keep her engaged, you need to step up your question game. Instead of asking generic, surface-level questions, dig a little deeper. Think about it. What do you genuinely want to know about her? What are her passions, dreams, and fears? Craft questions that invite her to open up, share her thoughts and feelings, and reveal the real person behind the screen. For example, instead of asking, "What do you do for fun?" try something like, "If you could drop everything and fly anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?" See the difference? The first question is predictable and dull, while the second one sparks her imagination and invites her to share a part of herself that she might not reveal in casual conversation. Another way to ask engaging questions is to be observant and tap into her interests. Did she mention that she loves to read? Ask her about her favorite author or the last book that blew her mind. Is she passionate about a particular hobby? Express genuine curiosity and ask her to tell you more about it. Knowing when to end a conversation is just as crucial as knowing how to start one. You want to leave her with a positive impression and a desire to continue the conversation later. The key is to end on a high note, when the energy is still buzzing and the connection feels strong. Think of it like a movie. You want to leave the audience wanting more, not sighing in relief when the credits roll. If you feel the conversation starting to dwindle, don't try to force it. Instead, bow out gracefully while things are still interesting. This will leave her with a sense of anticipation and make her look forward to hearing from you again. One effective way to end on a high note is to tie your exit to something you were discussing earlier in the conversation. For example, let's say she mentioned that she was about to watch her favorite movie. You could say something like, "All right, I'll let you get back to your movie. Enjoy. Let me know if it lives up to the hype." This shows that you were paying attention to her and leaves the door open for future interaction. Remember, the goal is to make her feel like you genuinely enjoyed talking to her and that you're looking forward to connecting again soon. Now, let's put everything we've learned into practice with some real-life text examples. I'm going to show you the difference between texts that fall flat and texts that keep her hooked. Let's start with a classic conversation starter. How's your day going? This is a common question, but it's also incredibly boring and predictable. Instead, try something like, "Tell me something crazy that happened today." This immediately piques her curiosity and invites her to share something interesting. It's a refreshing change from the mundane, "How are you?" routine. Another common texting trap is asking closed-ended questions that lead to dead-end responses. For example, instead of asking, "Did you have a good day?" try something more open-ended like, "What was the highlight of your day?" This encourages her to elaborate and gives you more to work with in terms of keeping the conversation flowing. When it comes to flirting, avoid generic compliments like, "You're beautiful." Instead, be specific and playful. If she sends you a picture of herself, you could say something like, "Wow, that smile could light up a room," or maybe even an entire city. This is much more engaging than a simple, "You look great." Remember, the key is to be genuine, playful, and specific to your interactions. So there you have it, the secrets to keeping her hooked and wanting more. Remember, texting is an art form, and like any art form, it takes practice. Don't be afraid to experiment, try new things, and see what works best for you. The most important thing is to be authentic, engaging, and to have fun with it. When you're enjoying yourself, it shows in your texts, and that's what will ultimately make you irresistible. What's your go-to texting move? Drop it in the comments below, and if you're ready to level up your texting game, hit that subscribe button for more tips.